Hello, Epic 7 newbies. This is Suspect Amy, and I'm here to do a quick video in response to some requests to show some RTA action. This is my pathetic climb to Masters. You can see I have 21 hours left to hit Masters rank, and I'm a pretty pathetic 50% win rate, so let's dive right in. For those of you that are not familiar with Epic 7, RTA is the game's live PvP system. I think it stands for Real-Time Arena. It's the game mode that most people who play Epic 7 enjoy the most. I'm usually not this bad at RTA, but I have some thoughts on why I'm struggling that I'll dive into later. This just isn't a game mode I play very much. I prefer normal arena and guild wars. So why am I playing now? Well, at the end of every RTA season, the game gives out a sweet skin to anyone who can make it to Masters rank. And this season's skin is particularly awesome because she's a unit I feature in my Arena Cleave videos all the time. Briar Witch Iseria. I promised myself I'll keep this video to under 15 minutes, so rather than cherry-picking some interesting matches, I'm just going to show off the last bunch of battles before I finally hit Masters. I did want to play a fun game with you guys though. I'll stop the video for 3 seconds and ask who you would ban from the other team, and then I'll show you my ban and my reasoning. Ready? Go. Okay, I banned Iseria on this one. I felt like with 2 squishy evade units on my team, she would one-shot everyone if she got a turn. Crow can probably do the same, but at least he has a better chance of missing. Anyways, my bans weren't great all night and I feel like I'm definitely out of practice. Also, I felt like I had a better chance of one-shotting the other units than I did on Iseria. I hit some crazy, 6-game losing streak at one point. I actually had to pause and re-gear a bunch of units because they were really underperforming. Aiden is actually one of them. I had her super fast with an evasion artifact. I suppose this is to get invincibility up quickly, but she hit like a wet noodle and wasn't that useful as a counter pick to units like ML Chu and Yufine. Now she's at around 230 speed and on a damage build, and I like her a bit better. Actually, now that I think about it, I probably could have kept Aiden on her old build and just geared up LQC. That would have been fun since her buff. So I'm pre-banning Zio. I'm not sure why. I don't find him particularly scary. I just banned him a lot last season, so I guess this is an old habit. If I have first pick, I'm usually just doing Politis or Lilius. They're solid general picks that don't tip your hand to what your playstyle is. I guess my playstyle is called Standard. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is that the style that's a bit slower and all you do is counterpick their heroes? Anyways, if so, that's definitely me. My Bellion is on full injury set, so she's my go-to unit against high health teams. One minor adjustment I made to my farming recently is to go for more health set pieces. I know the set bonus is considered to be underwhelming, but they're more generally useful to a wider range of heroes compared to almost every other 2-piece set. They are also one of the sets that can be built for both offense and defense, depending on the substats, and not lose their value like a defensive crit or pen set would. I previously slept on health set pieces, but lately these have been a top priority for me. Okay folks, who would you ban on this one? I ended up banning Angelica because I realized that I don't have a cleanser. This may have been a mistake. I thought for sure I could quickly take out Sirmia with Amid and Bellona, but I really underestimated how much mitigation Armin brings to the table. Once that plan failed, I think the writing was on the wall. To be honest, I don't have Ken and he's been buffed a few times, so he keeps changing, but I don't really know what mechanic he has that triggers his counterattack. I don't see him too often, so I never did the research. I'm not even sure what waifu counters I have for him. Maybe Aiden or LQC or Sirmia. I should have thought that through a bit better because he just tore me apart here. I don't really have many tips for new players around RTA, even though I've been playing the game so long. I guess I would say that RTA is like a muscle, and the more you do it, the better you get at it. I don't think it's necessarily about the gear. There's like a minimum level of gear that makes each character viable. Some heroes have a higher gear minimum than others, but in general, that minimum viability level is lower than you think. Once you hit this minimum gear requirement, the rest is all about how well you draft and how smart you play in the battle. So for those two things, it's just playing and getting experience. And we're back to 50% win rate again. So here comes Genua. I'm a little worried here. In normal arena, I stomp this guy in my sleep, but in RTA, I haven't fought him too much so far, because the other guy always seems to pre-ban him. I heard good counters to him are Fire Politis, and the unit I wreck him in arena with is Iseria, so I brought her too. I picked Flan here because I almost have a good setup for an aggressive attack. I have an opener and 3 pretty high damage AoE heroes. Even if he bans one of them, I'll have 2 heavy hitters. Time for the game. Who would you ban here? I banned Arrowell because, like I said, I might have the ability to do kind of a cleave here, and Arrowell's mitigation would have stopped that. Here comes the cleave. Wow, that is very disappointing. My Fire Politis is pretty high damage, and they had no mitigation and defense break, so that sucked. Add in the fact that Politis only landed 1 unbuffable, which essentially stopped me from killing on my counterattack, and that wraps up this match. Angelica cuts and disables my Senya. That's just RNG for you. If I would have only landed unbuffable on Angelica, she would have gotten killed by Politis' counter, and my Senya would have followed up with her AoE provoke, and I would have won the match. This is actually the match where Genua basically solos my whole team. After this match, I decided to pre-ban Genua going forward. It makes sense because he's an RGB unit, not an ML unit, so the odds are pretty good that everyone has Genua, and less people have Zeo. Making it into Master's rank is actually pretty easy. I can usually do it in a couple of hours, but this year in particular was really challenging for me. I can't put my finger on why exactly. Like I said, I even had to take a pause and re-gear a bunch of units because I was on this crazy losing streak. Characters like Aiden, Lionheart, Sermia, Karina, and Amid were particularly useless when I used them, so I had to give them some better gear. Okay, who would you ban here? Yeah, I banned Elvira because she turns my Lionheart into a pile of poop, and I sort of had counters on the board for everyone else. This is where I regret not building LQC. Aiden just didn't quite have enough to finish off Euphine. I'm not sure it would have mattered if Aiden did, because she would have just revived. Oh well, another rough loss. You know what? I was always told that if it's near end of season and you want to climb to Masters to get that skin, you should wait until the very last day. This is because a bunch of people who never do RTA, just like me, are scrambling to get the skin, and the competition is way easier than if you played RTA early on. I found this to be true in most seasons, but not this one. It seems like everyone I played this time has a ton of top-tier units geared and were making all the right decisions in the draft and during the battle. In the past, I swear I would fight people in gold who were bringing their, Wyvern teams to RTA. What did you guys think of the competition in gold in the last week? Interesting. A Lionheart ban. I guess this means this guy is going counter with Landy and Euphine or something. When drafting, I try to do 3 damage dealers and 2 debuffers or enablers or something. I don't use healers and mitigation units as much as I should. The reason I have to have 3 damage dealers is because if I have 2, it's easy for them to ban one and leave me with a single damage unit. Then during the battle, all they have to do is focus my 1 damage dealer, and as soon as they're dead, the game is over. Okay, only 2 battles left until I hit Master. Who do you think I should have banned here? I banned their Leluka because then they wouldn't have any cleansers, and I can wreak havoc with slow and anti-counter debuffs. This will basically negate their Bellion and Landy. I seal the Bellion here because it allows me to start accumulating souls. Yay, victory for me. Okay, my last and final battle. Yikes, this is such a long video, probably one of my longest. Don't expect a bunch of RTA videos from me in the future. This was such a slog, and you can see I'm just using the same meta units everyone is, so there's not a lot of variety going on. I think that's my biggest gripe with RTA. Everyone has basically the same top 20 characters in their pocket, and all you do is pick variations between these in every battle. Since I have a waifu-only account, this means I have maybe 15 of the top 20 characters to work with. Here's a match where I decide to only take 2 damage dealers. If he bans one, then he really only needs to focus on killing a single unit, and I lose. I also have no mitigation, so it's pretty risky. Because this video is getting a bit long, let's skip the ban guessing game here. I think you guys probably already knew I was going to ban Elvira. It worked out for me last game, so why not? He also didn't ban one of my damage dealers, so I'm in the clear. Back to what I was saying. RTA feels a bit repetitive because it's just the same pool of heroes being picked, but unfortunately you don't have much of a choice. Early on, I tried bringing fun heroes like Melissa or Green Lilibet and lost every match. These weren't even fun losses where I get to try the character out and then lose in style. No, these were just frustrating losses. In normal arena, you can have a little fun and play with different ideas to try and defeat the major defenses. You can tell by my arena videos. I love the different styles like the slow cleave or the Laya control team. Anyways, RTA definitely has its place in the game, and I would say it is the premier content in Epic 7, but it's just not my bag, that's all. Well, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching my video. Bye, everyone.